Okay, a little proof of concept. I've just been on the lathe and taken one of the studs and I've turned this down to 5/16 and threaded it. I haven't got the correct gaskets that I want, but that'll do for there, just to mock it up. This is the shortened spacer, which is correct for here. There's a carb. And what I can see, I think I've made a mistake. You can imagine there'd be a washer under that, but that's okay. You can imagine that, you know, doing up okay on there. But where I've made the mistake is I've taken all 6 bolts and I've shortened the ends there, but that means that these aren't going to be long enough when they're in here and screwed all the way in. But I can do 3 for here, then I'll have to find some longer bolts or find some that are the same but kind of not cut the heads off. I have got a few of these, so I hope I can lay my hands on a few more. But anyway, the proof of concept is there that the design of the stud works okay. So I've just got to make 6 ones that are suitable now, because these are going to be too short. Yeah, I could have made these work if I'd have thought about it, but you know, you don't learn without trying to do things, do you? But that's all right, isn't it? That's on. You know, it's on and it's square, so that's good. Okay, righto, onwards and upwards. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. The one on the right is the first one I made, and the one on the left is a longer one. And what I did, I found a bolt that was slightly longer and I didn't cut the head off. I turned the head down to the same base diameter as the rest of the bolt, as I wanted the rest of the bolt rather, 5/16. So that one, if I cut it off with the same amount of thread as that one, like that, if I cut that one off, you know, take about 5/16 off it, that will be okay, I think. And I've got 3 of these bolts, so I'll go and trim that, and then so I know I've got a way forward for these ones and I've got a way forward for those ones, so that's good, isn't it? It's good that I've had these saved for years, really. And it's great, you know, using the lathe to make things like this. You can see that's the end of the original bolt. That's turned down and threaded. Okay, here we are. There's 2 carbs mocked up in place just to test. There's the 2 spacers, different thicknesses, obviously because of to make the difference up for the height there. Everything's flat and level, everything's drilled and tapped. There's my prototype stud in there. That's one of those longer ones, and there's the first one I made in there, and actually they're matched up pretty well, just by luck. This is longer by a fraction, plus it has the bolt head still in place, turned down. This one had the bolt head cut off. If I'd have not cut the bolt heads off, I could have made studs from the first 6 that I prepared. So yeah, I like it. I think that's pretty good, actually, to be honest. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of an adjustment to make there. You know, you have to adjust your eyes a little bit. There's something going on. I wish these weren't quite so clunky. I might try and set them up to cut them down a bit or something like that, maybe mill them. But to be honest, I want a functional fixed first, and if I want a, what's the word, cosmetic fix, if I've got time I can do that later. But I think that's not too bad. I think that's okay. So it's just I'm just going to make 2 more long studs and 2 more short studs, and then I'm done. Okay, right ho. So not bad, an interesting exercise, and it's always nice to use the milling machine, you know, to sort of keep my hand in and you know, keep it all working. Yeah, not too bad then. That's an interesting exercise. I'll do a bit more on the lathe and I'll film machining one of the studs, and then hopefully that'll be job done. I dropped this carb yesterday and I've just noticed that. You can see that's all bent. Whoops. Oh well. Oh well. Could have been worse. Okay, righto. Back in a bit. Okay, I've just got to make some more studs, so I'll run through the process. Right, that's 0.32. That's 0.320, and I want 0.312. So I need 4th thou aside. I need 8th thou off, don't I? I've got this tube on it because you have to have it really tight for screw threading. Okay, so there's my stud, but I need to shorten this end, which I'll just go and do that in the mechanical saw. I'll be back in a sec. In theory you could part it off, but my parting off tool ain't very good. Well, I think the tool post isn't very stiff on this lathe, so you have problems when you try to do things like that. So there's another stud. Good enough for holding a carb on. Hello. After I switched the camera off, I took all the studs and reduced the bit that's 3/8 just down to like the bottom 1/4 inch or so. And the 2 blocks still don't drop down cleanly, right? But that one's a little bit closer. But what I noticed was that if I do it like this, that one goes down and that one goes down as well. So what I thought I would do is just relieve the hole there out to 10mm and see if it slips over. There's just a little relief on that bore there, which is deeper than that height of that. That's alright, isn't it? There you go. I'm quite pleased with that, because basically the cost of getting a twin carb manifold here is ridiculous. Okay, it looks slightly odd, but it's functional, isn't it? And you know, when you look at this car, it's actually not that visible anyway. You know, hidden in there, you won't hardly be able to see it. Okay, I've got a little bit of a conundrum now. What to do with the generator? And on a separate note, I need to measure these holes here so I can see if I can find some core plugs, or get some core plugs. I imagine it's something like 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches or something like that. Let's measure it. Hang on. Not the best way of measuring a bore, but give me an idea. Oh, 1.369. Wonder if that's 1 3/8. Yeah, if you can imagine that as 1.375, that'd be 1 3/8, wouldn't it? Awkward. I've tried it 1.216. I don't know what that is. 0.216. Let's have a look. 732. 2188. It's probably 732, isn't it? 1 and 732. I'll have to see if I can find a core plug that size. Bit of a weird size though, isn't it? No, I'm going to have to get a bit of aluminium and turn it down. Okay, righto. Anyway, these I'm still using these. These were from my apprenticeship days. Actually, maybe these weren't mine. Maybe this is another one that I think I remember had my name on it. Okay. Yeah, I've got to try and get a dynamo on there, haven't I? Years ago, I had one of these, and I modified this face to allow the dynamo to sit over at an angle like this. See, if it was just canted to here, and adjusted in this direction, up and down like that, that'd fit, wouldn't it? Hello. I just retrieved these two studs from flathead manifolds. One came from a Pilot and one came from a French manifold. And that thread there is 9/16 UNC. Guess what? Neither of them fitted. For some reason, this manifold is tapped 1/2 inch UNC. So that is a 1/2 inch main stud that I've just offered onto there, and it fits. There's a dog barking now. Now I did do this some time ago on a car that I had, well, must have been at least 20 years ago, and it did work. So this is the idea, that will bolt on there and slide in that direction. If this was reduced in height, which I can do, it can come lower, but it has to be able to adjust like this. So if it comes higher, it would clear that. If I bolted it like that, you see, it'd be too far forward. It needs to go back that amount there. This is a 12-volt dynamo. That's why it's got this end plate, because I never trimmed it off. Righto, I've got some ideas to think about. I'll come back out tomorrow and I'll do a bit more. Hello, welcome back. I was working on this yesterday and I had an idea last night. This is 1 7/30. No core plugs available in the UK that size. They're in the States and I could buy some from Rock Auto, but by the time I've bought a box of 10 and shipped them here, it's quite expensive. This is a much more common size. This is 1 3/8, and I could get those here. It's not a problem. So I might do that, but what occurred to me is that these wheel cylinders, that's 1 1/4 inches, and that's 1 3/8 inches. So what I thought I might do is knock these out, these pistons, because these are aluminium, and I thought I might try and skim that one down from 1 1/4 inches down to 1 7/32 and use it to fill the hole. And if that works alright, I might try and see if I can use that one to fill the other hole. 1 1/4 inches is the earlier ones before they bumped the diameter up to 1 3/8 inches when the cars got heavier. I was thinking about this aspect of the job, and I've got this in a position where it would probably work. I need to cut these here and down here and there. Really, I ought to centre this up. I don't know. I need to have a little bit more thinking about this. If I do it carefully, it'll still work in the conventional way, which would be alright on if you got the belts further forward and this can move further forward. But what I thought was, since I've got this thing here, I could make something that bolts onto there that has a slot in it that could be used to support that. So you've got this here, but you've got added support at the back. I think that would be a good idea. These are always a bit sketchy, aren't they, these generator mounts? Not so much when it's like this, but when there's a fan on there as well, it can be a bit much, really. Okay, so a couple of things that I want to look at. I'm probably not going to be able to do too much today, but I thought I'd just try and get those pistons out of there and see if I can use them to make a plug. Okay, back in a bit then. I've took the 1 1/4 inch brake cylinder piston and I've skimmed it down, and what I've done, I've left a slightly bigger bit there. This should be just a very light press fit, and then it should go in until it touches there, and then that should stop it going in too far. I think I'll try and part it off. You can just see there's a step in the diameter there. Quite warm actually. I left it with just a rough finish there. Might try and put it back in the other way around, hang on. Right, I've offered this in, it seems a little bit tight. Let me see if I can just deburr this a little bit. Feels like it might go if I give it a knock with a mallet. Good. It's alright, isn't it? The other one isn't aluminium. This one isn't aluminium, and it just slides in because it's undersized, you know, because it is a 1 3/8 piston to go in a 1 3/8 bore. That's a 1 3/8 bore. It's loose, but I think that looks pretty neat, to be honest. And I think the fact that I haven't tried to turn it on this face makes it look different than just a machined plug. I'll have a look, see if I can find an aluminium piston. If not, I'll have a look, see if I can find a lump of aluminium. I'll see what I've got and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Back in a bit. Hello, I found an aluminium piston. It was actually in one of them Industria Argentina cylinders that I've not used. So I've tried the old machinist trick of knurling it to make it bigger. So let's see if that becomes an interference fit. There's the piston. And that goes tight when see, that's loose and then it's tight when that bit gets to the bore. So I'll clean it all up. I'll put a bit of Loctite on it and tap it in. Seems like a good idea, doesn't it? And I can use that piston in the Industria Argentina. I must say the Industria Argentina insert looks better. But anyway, I'm going to use that for this job. It's because it's aluminium. Right, I'll go and clean it up. And I'll clean that. Hello, Rube. You right, love? Retaining compound. I ain't used it for ages. Hope it comes out. Okay, don't need too much. Just smear it round. Murder it in with a hammer. It's a good trick, that knurling. I mean, I've never done it, but I've heard that back in the day, you know, knurling pistons was a way of, you know, getting some more use out of a set of pistons. You got to think of things like, you know, when there was a shortage of parts and things. But that's all right, isn't it? Looks tidy, to be honest. Okay, job done, nice and easy. Thank God I've got a lathe. You'd be stumped, wouldn't you, if you didn't have a lathe on jobs like this. I bought this without realising that it would be cut on the slant. These faces would be cut on the slant. I didn't know that until I got it. That's why I haven't used it till now. What I think I want to do, is put something around here, even if it's just some tape, to sort of centralise this, because this is a 1/2 inch. Yeah, that's 1/2 inch, and this is 0.619. Right, it's probably 5/8 in it, 0.625, let's say. I always kind of round to the nearest number. So I need like something just to go around there. I think I'll just put some tape around it. Top tip for you, keep a razor blade on the end of your tape, then you've got something to cut the tape with every time. So I'm going to get a scriber and scratch some lines on that aluminium where I think I can cut it. It's rather limited in its travel. It's actually that that thing that's holding it up. I might tap that in a bit further and then grind it off to give more clearance so it can go a little bit lower, because it can go 1/4 of an inch lower on that corner there, look. Let's do that. Let's kind of optimize things for ourselves. I just tried hammering that in and it didn't actually go, so it must be all the way in, but that's okay. I'll just try and chamfer this edge a bit with a sanding disc. Oh, yeah. I ground that, and I ground the whole thing, and I ground that corner there as well. Okay. Well, I think that's marked it, so let's see. Take this out. This is only a 1/2 inch, it should be 9/16. What I might do is get one of these and turn it down and then dye it with 1/2 inch thread. I don't know if the threads would interfere, I'm not sure actually. I'll take that middle bit out and that top bit out. Okay, I'll bring it back when I'm set up to do the job, because I might try and mill it, but it could be awkward to set it up. I'll bring it back when there's more to show. I don't know if I'll be able to show any of this, but basically I put this large angle plate on the milling machine. That was the bargain of the century. I think I paid like a tenner for it. I've put the manifold onto the angle plate, and I put the generator onto the manifold, and I tried to align it as best as I could to the scribe marks. Locked it down, and then I have just been using my calipers to measure from there down to there and there down to there, and I've got them both the same. But I also use this to go along that edge there to make sure that that edge is perpendicular to the machine. In other words, you know, when I wind this handle and that handle, it will be going in line with the marks. This is what I'm saying about this machine being versatile. I've got that all over there, and because I can swing the head around, I can get onto it there. Well, somewhere over here I'll be able to get onto it. I'll probably bring the head back this way a bit. This is a good trick if you don't know. If you've got calipers, you can use this bit here for measuring depth. .295. .294. That's good enough for me. I faffed around with it for at least 20 minutes trying to get it level. This is just the angle that it's set to, you know, which is purely rudimentary anyway. It's what I kind of guessed might be okay, but I'd say that's all right. Okay, you get the idea. So it's at the right angle and it's level, you know, and it's within 90 degrees, and I don't think it's mega critical. If I use that little milling cutter that I was using earlier, that'll probably do the trick. Okay, because that chuck will hold that if I tighten it up well. Right, it's just a case of whittling away at it then. I think I'll just work very gently. I think that's just touched there, so I'm going to set a 0 at that. There's about 8 mil to go, so I'm doing 40 thou, which is roughly a mil, so probably about another 8 cuts. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Can you see the scribe mark? About 2 millimeters. 2 millimeters, we're about 80 thou away. Can you see it there? Look. I'll climb mill it 10 thou. That's alright, I think. Okay, there's my rather scratchy line there. I think I need to come to the bottom side of it there. The bit that's furthest to the right is the line. So I've got to take the top piece off until I come down to there. And there's my, where I've gone to that line there. Looks okay, doesn't it, really? Okay. Righto. Okay, I'll carry on then. You can't see the line because I just got rid of it. That's alright though. Can't really feel a step there. So I suppose what I want to do is offer on the dynamo, and I could put the first carb on as well. I might put the carb on, build up the carb on there while it's in situ. A bit awkward, but I can do it. And then put the generator on and just check that everything's okay. I hope it is. Okay. Okay, I'll bring you back when I've got more to show. There we are, perfect. And you can move it in that direction to adjust it. When it's low down like that, it's actually supported there and there, you know, there and there. Okay, good. Fits in nicely. You can't have it too tight because you've got to be able to, you know, wrestle it on the vehicle. Yeah, pleased with that. I think I might make like a custom stud that's the right diameter in this area here, so that the larger diameter bit bottoms out onto there. That'll support the stud better. But that's okay, I think. And I also might take a little bit more off that lump there, and you can see down there the clearance with the carb. Bear in mind that this doesn't adjust straight upwards, it adjusts in that direction there, so there is some adjustment there. It'll just clear that. Nice. Okay, and then, like I said, I will back it up with a bracket in this area here, which obviously has to be able to adjust as well. So, you know, there'll be some sort of slot work involved there. Okay, yeah, good. Right. Okay, I'll bring you back when there's more to show then, but for now I think that's pretty good. I'll get it off and just put it down on the bench and then take a last shot of it. I wanted to test it while it was still set up in the machine, because it did take a long time to get this set up, and you know, once it is set up, the actual job doesn't take very long. Okay, I'll bring you back in a little bit and I'll get it down on the bench. Hello. I've got it all bolted up. It looks alright. And I've been working on this little adjuster bracket here. Now, in reality, this can be a lot shorter than this, so once it's made I can possibly shorten it, but I might just leave it. This is a bracket that I got off a dynamo. I don't know what it was off. That's a round piece of metal there, probably cut from a steering column. Good quality heavy wall tubing, and I've made a little piece there which can go on there. I'm just going to get the welder now and reach down there and put a little tack weld on the corner. Once it's tacked, I'll take it off and weld it properly. I sanded that boss down a bit more to give more clearance, and you can see that when this is in its lowest position like that, it just clears that little bracket that I've made there. I've done a little bit more, and this is more or less the final job, other than, you know, tidying up with a bit of paint and stuff. So this is all machined. This needs to have a new stud, or, you know, a new washer made, or at least something. It's fitting on there. It fits in nicely. The milling went well. It took a long time to set up, but it went well. You know, once you set up, it's done, isn't it? And here's the little bracket that I think came out pretty good, to be honest. Only took me, you know, half hour to make it. So this is a bracket off something, don't know what. It only really needs to be about that long. But you can see that I've welded my piece of metal onto that boss. Just licked it over with a grinder. There's a little bit of porosity in the weld, but the other side went well. UNF nuts and bolts. I had to put 2 washers there because this pressing has a little raised rib there, and with just 1 washer it was resting on the pressing, so I thought, well, I'll keep it clear of the pressing and it'll work okay. So if I want to adjust it, I just have to slacken these 2, slacken that, and I can lift the whole generator, and then retighten there and retighten here. I don't expect this needs to be mega strong. It just needs to cut down on vibrations and impact, you know, when you hit a bump. This is very heavy indeed. You know, the bump that it makes when you go over a bump, or with engine vibrations. Just cutting down the bending stresses on this end here. Okay, I like this better than the head mounted one. The only thing that I might need to look at is hose, the radiator hose. It might be okay, I don't know. I might need to raise this, make it higher. Don't know, you know, we'll find out, won't we, when I come to fit it. Okay. Well, I've got a carburettor there, which I might as well have a look now while I've got the camera going, which is a 2129. I've taken down the stuff off the milling machine. That's a 9199. Don't know what difference it makes. So I'll have a look through my stash of carbs and try and find another carb to match and make up a pair. Yeah, so I've got to prepare a pair of carbs, and then I've got to rework this throttle assembly. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, won't it, if it all clears. I haven't really driven the car properly with this setup. So I think what I want to do before I try and tear it apart is give it a drive with this setup, and then I can make a judgment as to what difference it makes. I need to do a dual fuel entry with a T on that side, the other side, and I need to make a dual throttle, you know, dual hookup on this side, which can be a little bit tricky, to be honest, but you know, I'll give it a go. Okay, I'll just show you quickly on the sedan. Will I show you? Yeah, I will show you. That's the dual carb feed there with that compression T, and it really has been excellent. I've had it apart dozens and dozens of times, and it, you know, it just works. If you think about it, you know, it's a compression fitting. It's the same as Ford used there. They're designed to just be used over and over. Okay. It did occur to me that if I use like 3-inch blocks instead of 2-inch blocks, this would probably fit in the upright position. Yeah, I think it might do, yeah. But, you know, that's academic, isn't it? Because I haven't got those. But overall, this whole job, you know, I'm really pleased with the way this job went. It was great using the milling machine. You know, this went really well. There's a little bit of fettling to be done here, isn't there? There's a little bit of scope for some fettling, just these sharp edges here where I can feel, and that bit there, look. But, you know, by and large, yeah, it's all right, isn't it? And it'll be interesting to see what a difference, if any, the twin carbs make to that otherwise stock engine. Okay, right. I'm going to call it good for now, because I want to give this car a good drive before I take the inlet manifold off. I'm going to go and have a cup of tea and a piece of cake. How's that sound? Take care of yourselves, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then. Bye.